After starting a fire and perishing with my whole family, I crossed into becoming the rich cannon fodder eldest daughter in a fantasy novel about a heavenly dragon person. The system assigns me the task of redeeming the tragic second male lead. If I can't complete it, I can't go home. Laughing to death. I've been poor my entire life. I barely managed to die with a family of vampires. And now I'm reborn as a book-transmuted rich woman. Only a fool would go back. I held the Centurion black gold card, sighing regretfully at the system and shaking my head. I'm really sorry. Compared to the second male lead, I still need this black card more to redeem my miserable life. Just as I set the place on fire and took my whole family down with me, I opened my eyes again, staring blankly at this luxurious bedroom. I murmur, am I in heaven? Suddenly, a white light orb appeared in midair. In the vivid narration of the system, I learned that I had transmigrated into a novel, and I am the eldest daughter of the richest man in heaven dragon people, also a cannon fodder in the book. In the plot, the civilian male second hates me, the heaven dragon person, for humiliating his dignity with money. After replacing my father as the richest man in Country C, he subjects me to extreme revenge. Only years after my death did the male second finally repent, realizing how I had treated him with kindness in the past. But I had long been crushed to dust by him. And out of necessity the second male lead bought me a grave and carved my name on the tombstone. Then he drank himself to death before my tomb every day, crying bitterly. The system held my unlimited black gold card, telling me to go help the now still unnamed pitiful second male lead. After listening to the second male lead's tragic script, I seized the black gold card from the system with excitement. Have the driver take me to the nearest mall. The driver sped through the rainy night, splashing mud all over the second male lead. After getting out, I didn't even glance at the second male lead, headed straight for the mall, and swiped my card to buy several sets of designer clothes and 4 gold bracelets. But I have to say, wearing things on this wrist doesn't feel burdensome at all. The sound of the bangles jingling is quite nice to listen to. During that time, the second male lead Jiang Yanli kept sending me messages and calling, extremely affecting my first shopping spree after getting rich. So I opened Do Not Disturb without any psychological burden. Then I even went to a high-end restaurant inside the shopping mall. Only after I had eaten and drunk my fill did I walk out of the mall, and the things I bought filled the trunk of the car. Back at the villa, the driver placed everything I bought into the living room. Because I, a recently rich poor person, was eager to spend money at the mall, I hadn't carefully looked at my home. I stood in a daze, staring at the decor in the room, feeling as if everything were like a dream. Only then did a middle-aged woman suddenly come down from upstairs and drag me back to reality. Miss, weren't you going to meet young Master Jiang? Why did you come back on your own? Faced with the sudden reproach, I was momentarily stunned. Then I realized that the Jiang young master mentioned by the woman was the male second lead, Jiang Yanli. And this woman isn't a big figure either, just one of my maids. I sneered coldly and stared at the woman, asking, Aunt Chin, how come I don't know when the house has gained a young Master Jiang? Aunt Chin came down the stairs, looking displeased. Miss, what should young Master Jiang do when it's raining so hard outside? For Chin Ma's resentment toward me was obvious, as if young Master Jiang in her mouth were the master of the villa, her boss, and I was just a lodger who took up a spot and wouldn't leave. How ridiculous it is. It was just not long ago that Chin Ma accidentally broke a bottle of lotion I brought back from France while cleaning. I planned to have Madame Chen deduct this money from Madame Chen's salary. But how did Jiang Yanli say it at that time? You're already so rich. Why do you still want to deduct Madame Chen's salary? Madame Chen works hard cleaning every day. It's just a bottle of lotion. Do you have to be so aggressive? Jiang Yanli has been living in my villa for almost 2 years. During these 2 years, he has been gentle and tolerant to everyone in the villa. And with his outstanding appearance, Jiang Yanli quickly won everyone's favor. But he is always cold and distant toward me, speaking venomously. These words seem to be aiming to nail me to the pillar of wicked shame forever. Breakable items belonging to the host require compensation, isn't that only natural? And that bottle of lotion is brand new. This system is quite ridiculous as well. It even asks me to save such an ungrateful backstabbing ingrate. People just put down the bowl and insult their mothers, while Jiang Yanli holds onto my money and talks to me with vicious words at the same time. What kind of person is fit for redemption like this? Compared to Jiang Yanli, shouldn't the one who deserves redemption be the already scarred and battered self? 5. I looked coldly at Aunt Chen and said, "So? You care so much about Jiang Yanli. Did Jiang Yanli pay your salary?" Aunt Chen's face stiffened, as if she hadn't expected me to say this. Yeah, since Jiang Yanli came, in order to win his favor, even when the servants at home didn't do things well, I never spoke up to rebuke them. The other servants in the villa are grateful for my good temper and work even harder. Only this Mrs. Chen dared to question her boss boldly. Mrs. Chen kept a stiff face, lips quivering for a moment, not knowing what to say. At this moment, the villa's door suddenly opened. Jiang Yanli walked in covered in mud, and behind him there was also a similarly soaked woman who looked soft and fragile. This is the resilient civilian female lead, Wen Yiqian, in the plot. 6. As soon as Jiang Yanli appeared with Wen Yiqian, the system popped up again. Host, your mission is to redeem the male supporting character's tragedy in this story. Now the plot has developed to the male and female leads becoming lovers, while the second male is still sinking in the quagmire of unrequited love for the female lead. The male and female leads are currently at odds and have broken up. The second male lead thinks his chance has arrived and brings the female lead back in the rain. Go ahead, host. Go save the second male lead. Your mission is to give money and resources to the second male lead, helping him transcend his class to become a dragon god, and from then on reach the pinnacle of life. I didn't pay attention to the noisy system, but instead curiously looked at the female lead Wen Yiqian. Seeing my gaze, Wen Yiqian, as if scared, hid behind Jiang Yanli, and Jiang Yanli is a hand that safeguards Wen Yiqian in her arms. Jiang Yanli frowned and questioned me. "Yu Qiuyu, I called you so many times. Why don't you answer? I saw your car pass right by me. Why didn't you pick up to reach me in Qianqian? What if Qianqian catches a cold?" I haven't heard what Jiang Yanli is saying clearly yet. All my attention was drawn to the name. Yu Qiuyu, Yu Qiuyu, Yu Qiuyu. I repeatedly chewed this name in my mouth several times. I really liked it. After crossing over, the system kept nagging in my ear about Jiang Yanli and how the female lead Wen Yiqian is, but it never said what my name actually is. Well, it's not too late to know now. This name is really good. Thousands of times better than Nian Di. Just as I was still staring blankly, Mrs. Chen, with distress in her eyes, handed Jiang Yanli 2 dry towels. Then, while helping Jiang Yanli wipe off the mud and water from her body, she turned her head to rebuke me. "Yes, miss. You went out once and bought so many things. Such waste. It's really sinful." 7. It was also at this moment that Jiang Yanli noticed the 4 large gold bracelets on my 2 wrists and the array of brand-name shopping bags. Jiang Yanli looked at these things, her face turning grim and ugly. "Yu Qiuyu, why are you always so spoiled and divish? Do you think money is everything? Do you think you can waste money like that for anyone to see? Can't you just change that nasty habit of yours? You have no compassion at all. I tell you, if Qianqian catches a cold from getting soaked in the rain, you'll regret it. Whenever I go out to buy a few things and come back, Jiang Yanli coldly reprimands me a few sentences. That feeling is like this. I was spending Jiang Yanli's money. At that time I loved Jiang Yanli so much that I lowered my head and didn't even have a single word to refute. In order to draw closer to Jiang Yanli and to preserve his fragile sense of self-esteem. Over time, I stopped buying things as much, and I didn't go to the restaurants I used to frequent as often. But even so, Jiang Yanli was not satisfied. He always frowns and complains that I am wasteful, that I spend money carelessly. I frowned, and said coldly, "I'm spending my family's money, so I can spend it any way I want. Your family lives by the sea, so you're this nosy about it." Jiang Yanli's expression stiffened, as if she hadn't expected me to say that. "Yu Qiu, you. Ridiculous. Who wants to hear him spouting nonsense here?" I snapped directly. "Could it be that I've sheltered you for so long? So long that you've forgotten you're a homeless wanderer, and you've even planned to move in and take over someone else's nest? I paid no mind to Jiang Yanli's already deathly pale face, and let out a sneer. Continuing? Or is it that you've lived here so long that you truly treat others' things as your own? Jiang Yanli's expression turned ashen. Every word I spoke weighed heavily on Jiang Yanli's fragile sense of self-esteem. In the past I liked Jiang Yanli, so I naturally would consider his dignity. Whenever I spoke, I would go over my words in my mouth to make sure there were no problems before I spoke, for fear of hurting him. Jiang Yanli's pride is sensitive and fragile. Although he is a civilian, he fancies himself superior, but he himself doesn't have enough capital. He wants money, and he wants people to kneel and give him the money. Facing such a Jiang Yanli, even if I tread carefully, I inevitably end up hurting him. Compared to how incredibly humble I am in this relationship, Jiang Yanli is more like a prideful and arrogant true dragon. How could that be? Dragon bone people are still commoners. From birth, it was destined that way. When commoners face the dragon bone people, they cannot help but bow their heads a little. There is a gap in bloodlines. I can only say that Jiang Yanli, a civilian with this gene mutation, happened to run into me, who also has a gene mutation that makes one blind. Jiang Yanli couldn't utter a single word after I scolded her. Mom Chen wanted to say a few more comforting words for Jiang Yanli, but before she could speak, I cut in directly. Aunt Chen, I'm not scolding him, am I? Ever since Jiang Yanli arrived, you've been getting lazier and lazier with your work. When it comes to cleaning the room, I won't speak to you, and you won't clean my room. The room Jiang Yanli lives in is cleaned every day. Though, Aunt Chen didn't expect to speak yet, and the anger burned up to her. Miss. I waved my hand to cut him off. All right. No need to say more. Mom Chen, you're fired. And that bottle of water lotion you broke will be deducted from your salary this month. Aunt Chen's face changed color, and she dared not plead for Jiang Yanli any longer, crying out, Miss, I still have an elderly mother who is ill at home and a child who is still in school. Could you please not fire me? I really need this job. Aunt Chen is indeed calculating well. She just told me to stay with her, but she didn't say at all whether I could work well in the future. I sneered. Impossible. Today you leave. Jiang Yanli clenched the already filthy towel in her hand, unhappy, and said, You Qiu, can you stop acting up? If you treated Madam Chen a bit better normally, would Madam Chen still clean your room? Can you reflect on yourself for once? You've never been poor. You don't know what life is like for the poor. If you dismiss Madam Chen, what will the elderly and children at home do? Are you trying to push them to their deaths? Jiang Yanli said the wrong thing. I have been poor before. In my previous life I was truly poor for a whole lifetime. So poor I couldn't afford meals, eating what others had left in the canteen. So broke that I rummaged through trash cans for trash, and even after a month I could not save enough for tuition and books. So poor that a senior in the university dormitory had me help fetch meals, water, and packages, and then she'd pay me 100 yuan for the errands. I kept the money under my pillow, and in the night I would wake laughing in my sleep. Just because I have been poor, I know what poor people are like. Someone like Jiang Yanli is exactly the green tea, eye-rolling opportunist. 11. Jiang Yanli suddenly fell silent. Of course he was reluctant to take out his own money, even though the money was all transferred to him by me. Besides being willing to buy things for himself and Wen Yiqian, he wouldn't spend another penny. Even I, the big fool who provides the money, never received any thanks from Jiang Yanli. Not right. Don't bother thanking me. Every time I take money, Jiang Yanli sends long blocks of text to accuse me of insulting him with money. Calling Jiang Yanli an ingrate is an insult to wolves. Seeing that Jiang Yanli wasn't speaking, I sneered coldly and ordered the house's bodyguards to drag Aunt Chen out. Fortunately, although the people in the villa have a favorable impression of Jiang Yanli, most of them are still normal, under the suppression of the celestial dragon bloodline. No one dared to disobey me. Standing behind Jiang Yanli, Wen Yiqian bit her lip, pulling her hopeful and greedy gaze away from my clothes and bag. With a hint of pity, she glanced at the Chin maid who was dragged out, then gently tugged Jiang Yanli's sleeve and spoke pitifully. Arlie, perhaps I should leave first. Miss Yu doesn't seem to welcome me. Ali, I'll go first. Miss Yu is upset with you for bringing me back here. You should charm her properly. 12 After finishing speaking, when Ichien turned around and pretended to walk out. Even though the storm raged outside, she had just broken up with the male lead, Luo Zhizhou, and had nowhere to go. How could she bear to leave? They were already standing in the doorway, able to step out at any moment. But when Ichien turned around and stood perfectly still, not moving an inch, only Jiang Yanli, fooling herself, couldn't see it and pulled Wen Ichien into her embrace. Wen whispered softly, "It's already so late, and it's raining outside. What would you do if you got sick?" Then she turned her head toward me with a haughty look and said, "You Qiuyu, first tidy up a room for Qianqian to live in. I'll take Qianqian to take a hot bath." After speaking, Jiang Yanli planned to hug Wen Ichien Jiangyin. I directly stretched out my hand to stop them. Who agreed to wind Ichien living in my villa? I deliberately bit the phrase my villa hard, and indeed I saw Jiang Yanli's expression turn ugly. "You Qiuyu, can you stop making trouble? Aunt Chin has been fired by you. What else are you unhappy about? The person I like has always been Qianqian. I've only treated you as my own sister. You'd better stop making trouble." 13 a.m. I being unreasonable and causing trouble? I'm so angry my lungs feel like they're about to explode. For a moment, Jiang Yanli overlapped with my past life's younger brother Li Guangzong. My adrenaline suddenly spiked, and I grabbed a baseball bat from beside the sofa and started hitting Jiang Yanli. Then imitation of my parents. Old rhetoric. Cursing. Treat me like your younger sister? The brothers of others give their sisters money. How can you be so shameless as to keep begging me for money? Why can't you just marry off yourself? Then give the betrothal money to me to spend. You fatherless brat who eats my food and uses my things. And you still dare to treat me like this. You rotten root male. Watch me beat you to death today. Jiang Yanli didn't expect me to suddenly lash out. And for a moment she didn't react. Later she was beaten all over and couldn't fight back at all. Beside her, when Ichien was screaming at the sight, never even telling me to stop. After a long while, I had beat enough. I was tired. Holding a baseball bat, he sat down on the sofa. At this moment, when Ichien gently helped Jiang Yanli to her feet, Jiang Yanli's whole body ached. She didn't even know where to cover. Her face contorted in a grimace as she said, "You Qiuyu, what on earth are you crazy about? You actually hit me. Immediately, right now, apologize to me and Qianqian, or I'm moving out tonight." After venting, I felt a lot lighter. Hearing Jiang Yanli's words, it was as if I had heard some enormous joke, and I burst into laughter. After I had laughed enough, I pointed at the gate behind the two of them and said, "The door is right there. Take care on your way out." After I finished speaking, a thunderclap happened by coincidence. Jiang Yanli's face flickered in the thunder. He turned his head to look at the heavy rain outside, and clenched his fists tightly. The hatred and blame on his face were plainly visible. What does Jiang Yanli hate me for? What right does he have to hate me? Jiang Yanli hates that I gave him a place to stay, so he wouldn't have to sleep on the streets? Hate that I gave him money? Hate that I used my connections to help him start a business? After a long moment, I finally heard Jiang Yanli grit his teeth and say, "You Qiuyu, I'm telling you, if I step out this door today, even if you beg me, I won't come back. You know, the old trick of playing hard to get won't work on me." I shook the baseball bat in my hand and said lightly, "For someone like you, a top-notch ingrate who even scolds his mother while holding a bowl, what is there for me to not be willing to part with? Where did you get the confidence to think I'd let you come back?" The blood on Jiang Yanli's face had completely faded away. My words undoubtedly hit his sensitive nerve again. Until today I had never spoken such harsh words to Jiang Yanli. But from now on, I will often speak in such cutting and venomous ways. Because I am no longer my former self. I am now Nyo Hulu Qiuyu. 14 Seeing that I was determined to let them go, Jiang Yanli pulled Wen Ichien and headed outside. But they walked slowly, as if waiting for me to stop them. I lay on the sofa and could still hear Wen Yiqian persuading Jiang Yanli. "Ali, you will surely succeed. You have never been worse than anyone else." Jiang Yanli will certainly succeed. But the premise of success is that I use my own money and connections to gradually clear obstacles for him, to carve out a smooth path to Rome for him. With such thorough arrangements, even a fool could succeed. Only now, without the help of this sky dragonman, Jiang Yanli the commoner has nothing left but a body of steel and bones. And Wen Yiqian, who is determined to marry into a noble family as a young madam, would she still be willing to stay by the sycophantic second male led? Although the two of them move slowly, the road is not long. The two stepped out of the house, and then out of the villa door. The door to the villa slammed shut and I didn't hear any of them hear me beg them to stay. Jiang Yanli stood at the door, his eyes clear and dim at the same time. He was already somewhat regretful for what he had said to me, standing outside the door feeling a bit at a loss. Just watching Wen Yiqian still pitifully looking at him, Jiang Yanli forced out an ugly smile and pulled Wen Yiqian away. 15. I stood in front of the window on the second floor, gazing at Jiang Yanli's back, somewhat entranced. Jiang Yanli really does have a fine, attractive face. In terms of appearance, none of the three women in the poem can compare to Jiang Yanli. Even the male lead Luo Zhizhou is somewhat inferior to Jiang Yanli. Youthful campus, a melancholic male student. No wonder Jiang Yanli could make her original body fall for her so deeply. However, my gaze shifted, and I looked at Wen Yiqian, who was wearing a small white dress, and felt a touch of emotion in my heart. In the university campus, the romance between the male and female leads was jaw-dropping, widely nicknamed as the domineering CEO and the little white flower from novels. But once out of campus and into society, the script has shifted from a sweet romance to a commoner gold digger who wants to fly to her fingertips and become a phoenix, and a Halle Dragon heir who is busy with family affairs and requires a capable partner of equal standing. The gap between them is like a chasm. Their love cannot withstand wind and rain. As a dragon, the male lead will never learn to bow his head or yield. The female lead also wants their positions to be equal. After a final fierce quarrel, the female lead heedlessly went to find the affectionate male second lead. Jiang Yanli was delighted, thinking her chance had finally come, and hurriedly went to pick someone up. But at that time, I worried that Jiang Yanli might get sick from the rain, so she humbly drove to pick up Jiang Yanli and Wen Yiqian to stay at her villa. Daily I watched the two interact with my heart wrenching in pain. I sneered coldly. In fact, the original self in Jiang Yanli should have parted ways with the current male and female leads right after graduation. The difference between the celestial dragon and ordinary people lies in bloodline, and this is precisely the most irreparable gap. 16. I no longer looked at them, stood up, and drew the curtains. Just as I sat down on the bed intending to sleep, the system popped up again. "Host, why are you in the room?" The system transformed into a light ball, flew out from my body, circled the villa once, and finally found Jiang Yanli and Wen Yiqian in the heavy rain. The system let out a sharp scream. "Host, you hurry out and bring him back. He and the female lead are outside getting drenched in the rain." The harsh sound made me frown. But for this system that has brought me a life of luxury, I still have a degree of patience. I don't want to bring him back, and I'm not planning to redeem him. System, don't you think I need redemption more than Jiang Yanli? The system started shouting frantically. "Host, how can you not follow the plot? You came to this world to redeem the second male lead. This is your mission. If you fail the mission, you will be punished." I've read a few novels as well. In them, when the mission isn't completed, the system erases you. I moved directly to right under the crystal lamp. Isn't it just erasure? See that lamp above? Let it fall and crush me to death. The system transformed in front of my eyes from a white orb of light into a pink orb, clearly about to explode in anger. Not kill you. Worse than death. If you fail the mission, you can never return to your original world. You'll spend the rest of your life trapped in this unfamiliar mission world. I was stunned for a moment, not expecting there to be such a good thing. The voice trembled slightly because of the excitement. Really? I can really stay here forever to be my richest heiress? I can have money that never runs out for a lifetime? The system also paused for a moment, clearly not expecting that I would react this way. But the system seems to know nothing about my life, and it even tries to persuade me. Host, you can still earn money again once you return to the original world. Think of your biological parents. They are waiting for you to take care of them in the original world. If you don't go back, what should they do? I threw myself onto the sofa and lay there, boldly declaring, "System, you don't need to worry about me. I've already handled it." The system didn't understand what I meant and asked back, "What do you mean by solved?" I let out a few quiet laughs, not hiding anything. On New Year's Eve, the whole family gathered for a meal. At the dining table, my parents discussed offering 300,000 in betrothal money to marry me off to a man in his 50s. My two sisters urged me to marry, and my younger brother wouldn't speak up for me at all. In a fit of anger, I set the house on fire. Our entire family, all of us, completely resolved. The air fell into an eerie silence. After a long moment, the system finally struggled to speak. "Before I die, what is your name? How old are you? And what are your family members' names?" "My name is Li Nyendi, and I am 23 before I die. I have two sisters. One is Jiaodi and the other is Pandai. My younger brother is Yaozu. My father is Guangzong, and my mother is Yangxingnan." After speaking, I pulled the blanket over me and lay back in bed. After a long while, I finally heard the system murmur, "Host, compared to the second male lead, I think your mental state is more. Maybe you should go see a doctor." I lowered my eyes and said casually, "I have severe depression. If you try to persuade me to do tasks again, be careful or my depression might turn bipolar and I'll just kill off your tragic second male lead." The system seemed to believe me and immediately fell silent. In my past life I was so poor that I obviously couldn't afford to see a psychologist. I know I have mental issues, and that they were all caused by poverty and my dysfunctional family. Now that I have money, and have freed myself from those blood-sucking relatives, where would I still need to see a doctor? But I've never understood why both my sisters were oppressed by our parents, and why they could endure it without any trace of dissatisfaction. I can accept all scolding, beating, and exploitation with composure. They even advised me to marry the old man who is older than my father. That proactive attitude seemed as if, after I got married, I could share a portion of the bride price with them as well. If I couldn't figure it out, that's fine. I simply went back to the big bed in the sleeping room to sleep. 17 early the next morning, my best friend Chu Ruo's message bombarded me, waking me from my sleep. "Ai chiu yu. Ai chiu yu. Ai chiu yu. Ai chiu yu. Are you up? Chiu yu. The piece of land you showed to Jiang Yanli is going to be auctioned every day from now on. Should we go together?" After saying a lot, only the last sentence was useful. I recalled carefully that in the plot I bought that piece of land as a gift for Jiang Yanli. And after Jiang Yanli readily signed, she accused me of humiliating him with money. Later, this piece of land appreciated in value rapidly, and it became a key step for Jiang Yanli to leap over class barriers and replace my father as the richest person in Country C. After that, Jiang Yanli began to suppress the Yu family to take revenge on me. The Chu family was the top of the lower tier, and at that time only Chu Ruolai offered me help. But the Chu family was also pulled down by Jiang Yanli from the lower tier, turning into a small clan. What I want to do now is to claim this plot of land and secure the Yu family's position as the richest in town. The thought of countless money beckoning to me excites me. I immediately replied, "Go away, go away. We'll go together the day after tomorrow." Chu Ruorai seemed to be waiting for my message, and as soon as I finished speaking, they immediately replied, "It's okay. If you accompany Jiang Yanli to leave, I can manage alone." "What? Chiu Yu, you promised to accompany me and go with me." And then a phone call came in. 18 After spending 2 days hanging out with Chu Ruolai, I finally convinced her that I had truly let go of Jiang Yanli. At the auction, I braved talking with a few partners. It's just that I've never dealt with finance and really don't understand this area. The partners are all small clans that can barely make 5 allowances. They survive on the Yu family, and with the news that Jiang Yanli and I had a falling out already spreading through the circle because of Chu Ruolai. They all think I'm in a bad mood and don't want to talk, so no one dares to give me any trouble. Chu Ruolai was eating a small piece of cake when suddenly he patted my shoulder, pointed in one direction, and said excitedly, "Chiu Yu, look who's coming." I followed the direction he pointed to. What appeared was Jiang Yanli and Wen Yiqian, only this suit that Jiang Yanli is wearing, the same outfit she was forced to leave in earlier. It was only washed briefly, but not ironed. Wrinkles are everywhere now. It's not hard to tell that Jiang Yanli is living quite frugally now. I frowned at the two of them, puzzled. Only invited people can enter this auction. How did Jiang Yanli get in? Could it be that after I kicked her out, Jiang Yanli went so crazy for wealth that she robbed a bank? The system kindly explained, "Host, you previously sent an invitation to the male supporting character." I saw Jiang Yanli staring at me for a long time, the venom on her face fading a bit, and she finally gave me a meaningful smile. I sneered. Jiang Yanli is still dreaming. She thinks that by now, I would still auction off this land and give it to him. Ever since I learned last year that this piece of land was going to be auctioned, I had mentioned it to Jiang Yanli many times. And again he promised to give this land to him, to help him start from nothing. Seeing me look at him, Jiang Yanli's smile on her face grew more confident, as if he had calculated me perfectly. Unfortunately, I, Niu Hulu Yu Chiu Yu, will not do as he wishes. 18 After several rounds of bidding, I finally secured this piece of land for 4.5 billion. After paying on the spot with a card, the organizers brought the contract to the stage. "Miss Yu, congratulations on successfully winning the development rights for this piece of land." I had just stood up, planning to go up and sign the contract. The rear passenger Jiang Yanli calmly and unhurriedly helped Wen Yiqian to stand up. The two of them, under the thousands of eyes on them, walked over to me. Jiang Yanli said with confidence, "Yu Chiu Yu, considering you gave me this piece of land, I will forgive your past deeds. As long as you apologize to Qianqian again, Qianqian and I can move back in tonight." Now Jiang Yanli is so confident, and soon she becomes just as embarrassing. I ignored Jiang Yanli and walked straight onto the stage. I picked up the contract and waved it toward Jiang Yanli. Just as Jiang Yanli was smiling and pulling Wen Yiqian onto the stage, I directly and decisively signed my name on the contract. Jiang Yanli looked at my actions and shouted, "Yu Chiu Yu, what are you doing?" Then Jiang Yanli said to the organizers, "This is my place. This contract doesn't count. Quickly bring up another contract." I didn't expect that up to now Jiang Yanli still couldn't face reality. I sneered. "When did I say I would give you the place?" Then I looked at the 45 billion worth of land like a commodity. Could it be that your manhood is encrusted with gold and jade gems? As soon as this remark was made, a low chuckle spread through the auction house. 19 My words were indeed a bit crude, but most of us are descended from the upper 3 clans and the lower 5 clans of the dragon people, and once we have heirs, everyone just goes their own way, not interfering with each other. This is a world of dragon people. The dragon people and those lowly commoners were separated by a rift of sky. In the plot, it was because the Yu family openly aided a commoner, which provoked many families' discontent, leading to its decline. Now this pose of mine is only considered normal in the eyes of the crowd. To the lowly commoners, the celestial dragons have always looked down on them. Elegance and humility are always directed only toward the celestial dragons themselves. 20 And Jiang Yanli, because of these words, has completely become a clown. Humiliation and shame tortured Jiang Yanli's pride. He stared at me fiercely, as if about to swallow me alive. Laughter and whispers from the auction hall drifted into Jiang Yanli's ears. Most of them were sneers at Jiang Yanli for overestimating herself, for being arrogant due to favoritism, for deservedly being dumped, or for being a kept man type. These words reached Jiang Yanli's ears, and naturally they also reached Wen Yiqian's ears. Earlier, Wen Yiqian had followed the male lead Luo Zhizhou and had heard about this land with limitless prospects. At this moment, she naturally hoped that Jiang Yanli could obtain this land. Yu Chiu Yu, quickly return the land to Jiang Yanli. This is what you promised. I narrowed my eyes dangerously and said in a low voice, "If you're willing to pay, I'll give him the land." Wen Yiqian didn't expect me to be so ruthless. Her eyes moist with grievance as she looked toward Luo Zhizhou, who sat in the first row, also from the shank. Luo Zhizhou didn't expect Wen Yiqian to put such a posture on the table, and his expression immediately turned ugly. He ordered, "Haven't you seen that the two of them have already affected young Master Yu? Hurry and drive these two commoners out." Wen Yiqian only realized in shock as she was dragged outside by two big men how Luo Zhizhou had treated her this way. She and Luo Zhizhou had been in love for 5 years, but only a few days apart, and those feelings have been shattered like this? And when Jiang Yanli was dragged out, she looked even more ferocious, shouting at me, "You Qiuyu, even if you beg me now, I will not return to the villa again." 21. After the auction ended, I raised my wine glass and toasted Luo Zhizhou. He returned the toast just as well. Towards the end, Luo Zhizhou leaned close to me and whispered, "Young Master Yu, about those two civilians who caused trouble, do you want me to have someone deal with them?" I was startled in my heart, knowing that the Celestials looked down on commoners, but I never expected them to be so ruthless. I looked up and glanced around. Everyone seemed unfazed. I forced a dry laugh and refused. "No need. If I leave, he won't accomplish much." Luo Zhizhou narrowed his eyes and raised his wine glass to clink with mine. "That's true." 22. The competition among the Celestials is equally fierce. This piece of land was enough to allow the second male lead, Jiang Yanli, to join the ranks of the Celestials despite his commoner bloodline, which alone speaks volumes about its immense value. Now that I'm here, I naturally intend to develop this land properly and ensure the Yu family doesn't repeat the same mistakes. Gui Mei Chu Ruolai is indeed a very good partner. When the Yu family was pressured by everyone, only Chu Ruolai came to lend me a hand. This time bringing her into the fold can be considered a repayment for that unwavering affection. 23. After developing the land, the Yu family's position at the top of the three valves naturally became even more invincible. And without my help, Jiang Yanli naturally cannot develop her own career. Not a single celestial dragon would take his word for it. After holding on to an immature product and hitting wall after wall, Jiang Yanli was utterly desperate. And I had not seen Jiang Yanli for a long time, almost forgetting this person's existence. That day I was about to return to the villa when a figure crawled out from the bushes and blocked my way. A person who is dirty all over should not appear in this villa area. I frowned and was about to call the security to chase him away when the man spoke. "Xiao Yu, it's me. Please help me. I'm really at my wit's end." Hearing the familiar voice, I paused slightly, and only then realized that the man who looked like a vagrant in front of me was actually Jiang Yanli. I stepped back with a look of disgust. Jiang Yanli acted as if she hadn't noticed my disdain in her eyes, and continued speaking to herself. "Xiao Yu, I've understood it now. I truly like you. In the past I was ignorant and let you down. I hope you can give me a chance to make amends. In the past, those things weren't intentional. I was just too insecure, not daring to believe that the daughter of the upper class would like me, so I used those means to test your love for me. I truly know I was wrong. Can we live a good life together from now on?" Jiang Yanli is pleading. Although his body is filthy and dirty, his eyes are as clear as before, and now, after enduring so much suffering, there is a trace of fragmentation in them. He looks very pitiful. Even I, the one who has suffered, couldn't help but be momentarily dazed. People say the eyes are the windows to the soul, but with a person like Jiang Yihan, how could he deserve such beautiful eyes? I sneered coldly, stepping back a few more steps, fearing the dust on Jiang Yanli would fly onto me. But at this moment Jiang Yanli finally saw the gesture of asking questions, as if he hadn't expected me to do this, and he was stunned as well. Jiang Yanli's lips trembled a few times, as if he wanted to say something. I raised my hand directly to interrupt him, mercilessly saying, "Jiang Yanli, who gave you the confidence to firmly believe that I, a high-ranking member of the Three Reaches sect, would wait for you, a mere commoner?" Watching Jiang Yanli's suddenly devastated expression, I couldn't explain why, but a sudden sense of satisfaction rose in my heart. Jiang Yanli. Cinderella won't wait for a prince. And even a dragon prince won't stop for you. A commoner. Now prove that your previous thoughts were correct. I never truly loved you to begin with. So, can you get lost now? Jiang Yanli's face was pale, rocking her head back and forth like a rattle. She muttered in her mouth. No, it's impossible. You clearly love me so much. How could you suddenly stop loving me? You must be lying to me. You must be. Speaking. Jiang Yanli suddenly thought I would come closer, and stretched out her hand as if wanting to hold my hand. Xiao Yu, you must be lying to me, right? Let's talk properly, okay? I frowned at Jiang Yanli's movements, and just as he was about to touch me, my bodyguard pinned him to the ground. Looking at Jiang Yilan, who was lying on the ground, writhing and struggling, a wave of disgust crossed my eyes, and I directly had the bodyguard throw Jiang Yilan out. When she was dragged out, Jiang Yanli wore a look of disbelief. He simply refuses to believe that the person who once loved him to the core, who was willing to spill her own blood and flesh to pave his way, would really be so cruel as to throw him out. 25. Looking at Jiang Yanli's big eyes shimmering with water, I began to plot in my heart. No longer looking at Jiang Yanli's tragic situation, I turned around and returned to the villa. A few days later, when I finally held what I wanted in my hands, I truly felt the reality of this world. After crossing over originally, I always felt that everything was very illusory, as if it could disappear in the next moment. The texture of the eyeballs isn't very good, but holding them in my hands, there is an indescribable feeling in my heart. Just as I was carefully examining what exactly was wrong with this pair of eyeballs, the system popped up again. Host, I'm going to leave the task world. I was startled for a moment. Although the system hasn't spoken for many years, the difference between its being and not being is still quite large. At least I sometimes feel a bit lost. The system is the entity I have known the longest in this world. Suddenly leaving me feels a little poignant and disorienting. Why do you want to leave all of a sudden? System. Because the host has completed the hidden mission, Yu Qiuyu's obsession. After completing the hidden mission, you can skip the main storyline and directly exit the world. I frowned, looking at the pupils in my hand that looked like glass, and suddenly realized, in the original plot, Yu Qiuyu fell in love at first sight with the civilian male supporting character, offering money and resources. She doesn't care about looks. Simply looking at the second male lead makes her feel satisfied. I originally thought the original owner was just a love-struck fool, but it turns out she actually loves these two eyes. I raised the eyeball in my hand and examined it carefully. Must admit it is very beautiful. Even though there is still fear lingering on the eyeball, it remains crystal clear and translucent. Like a gem. No. In front of this eyeball, the gems have all become counterfeit. Only they are genuine. 26. Her original self had sacrificed even her family business and her life. Yet she still did not obtain these eyes forever. No wonder it becomes an obsession. Now I hold these eyes in my hand, and I can consider the original body's wish fulfilled. Feeling the realism transmitted by this body, I think this body should truly belong to me this time. As for Jiang Yanli, who has lost both eyes, no one will care. In this world, countless commoners die at the hands of the Tiandran, celestial dragon, people every day. Missing one more of them won't make a difference. As expected, I didn't see Jiang Yanli again for many years. I lie on the bed, a blaze of fire appearing before my eyes. That was the fire I set at the Li residence. It seemed that their painful curses still echoed in my ears, until I saw them all turn to charcoal in the blaze along with the pains of my past life. Only then did I close my eyes without regret. How wonderful. Once again, I see this fire, and I am Yu Qiuyu. The end.